So, this might just be about the most boring video I've ever made before, but it was something, or is something that I've worked on for the last, week and some change, so I felt it was worth posting, even though it's gotta be the most boring thing I've ever worked on. Here's the thing. Windows has something called a registry. If you guys don't know what a registry is, it's this right here. As you can see, this is the registry editor, and it shows you all the registry keys that you have on your computer. Now, I'm sure someone smarter than me will explain the exact purpose of a registry, but from what I can tell, a registry is literally just a way to have a whole bunch of data with keys that is kept in a way that you can access it later. So for example, if I went to this address and I asked for this key, it would give me this value. There seems to be other ways that also kind of works, like you have environment variables, which seem to do the same thing. What is the difference? I don't know, but here's the registry. Thing is, there might be, occasionally, things that you want to get from the registry. Most people don't need to do that, or want to do that, or give a shit. And in fact, there are technically ways to do it, like using a command prompt executable called reg, R-E-G, so you could do reg query or reg query, and then look stuff up that way. However, if you're using something like Love2D, for example, which is a 2D game engine that uses Lua as its main coding language, or scripting language, you might want to get access to that without having to use those command prompt executables. And the reason why is, I'll actually do this real quick. If I were to do io.open reg query like this, it'll throw an error. But you should see, oof, did it happen? It was so slow. What happens normally is when you try to access a value using this, it will pop open a command window. I think because this failed because it wasn't valid, it just never did it. But if I were to go through and type in a valid thing and try to open it this way, it would throw an error. And for what it's also worth, I would have to then do this, because this is just a file handler. Then I'd have to get that file, and I'd have to read that into, or I'd have to take that file and read all the data out of it. And then I'd have to close the file. And I'd have to do this, this, and this for everything that I wanted to get values from the registry. Which, for one, that seems like a lot of opening and closing, and two, it would just be nice to sort of wrap it up. It would just be nice to wrap it up and not have to worry about having to do all this extra stuff every time. Also, the command prompt flashing up, obviously fucking annoying. So I made something. It's called LuaReg. What does it do? It allows you to do some basic Windows registry manipulation using Lua. And C# a little bit. But the thing is, what I did was I wrote a DLL in C#. I used something called DLL export to export it into C++. Then I can load it in C. So I went through a couple different languages there, but I went C# to C++, C++ to C, and then from C to Lua. So that seems like a lot of jumping. However, C# is the only odd one out here, really. C++ and C are similar. I don't know exactly how it works, but basically you can have DLLs that go from C++ to regular C really easily using something called extern. So extern C allows it to work with C. I really don't know what the difference between the two languages are. And then once it's in C, you can use... Technically, if I wanted to write this the correct way, I would have just written the DLL in such a way that it then used the Lua API. I'm lazy and I didn't do that, so I'm actually using something called FFI, which is Foreign Function Interface, which comes with Love2D and LuaJIT. But if I didn't do that, if I really wanted to put a lot of effort in, I could just make it pure Lua, which would have been cool, but I didn't do that. So anyways, what it does now is all you have to do is call reg load, like this, and it loads it up, and then we can open up values from our registry. Now, keep in mind, everything I'm about to show you is fucking with the Windows registry, which you don't do, ever. Now, if you're looking at me and you're like, but then what's the point if you're not supposed to mess with it? If you need to mess with it, you'll not. But if you're just kind of like, oh, that's cool, don't fuck with it. Only if this is something you would need would you actually go around messing with all this registry stuff. And in the case of what I had actually wrote this for, I needed to get values from the registry. So that's why I wrote it. But what I wrote was a quick thing that allows me to access values and change values, delete keys, all sorts of stuff like that. I didn't add something called delete subkeys, which allows you to delete every subkey in the Windows registry. So like, if you were to do, if I were to go local machine software and then leave it like that, and then like software and then delete subkey, it would just delete everything in here, right? I just didn't do that one, right? Because that's a lot. It's overkill. Delete them one by one if you really need to. If you're doing that much registry manipulation in Love2D, you might be doing something wrong. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, so now we can do some really cool things. Like for example, let's say we wanted to set a key. So first we need the root, and the root would be one of these up here. So classes root, current user, local machine, users, or current config. And this is all shortened. So say we wanted local machine, I would just do HKLM. So HKLM. Next, I want to put that in one of these folders here, right? Or just somewhere in the path, right? So this is the root, and then you actually have to go one lower in the root. You can't go directly from here. You have to go one lower. So let's say we want to do in the software path. So we just say software, and then here's the key that we want to make, which we will call test key. So if I do this and run it, attempt to concatenate value, local value, a nil value. I just remembered, it wasn't set key, it was set entry, is what I wanted. Set entry. So that, and then that. And so this is going to be making what looks like a folder here, right? They have folder icons, not really folder icon. It's really bizarre that Windows decided to represent it that way because it's very misleading. And these even kind of look like file paths, but they're not file paths. Anyway, so we want local machine software, and then we want a folder, big air quotes, called test key. So we run it, and you'll notice a blank window because I'm not doing anything, right? But if we were to go back into our registry and we were to refresh this, and scroll down a little bit, here it is. Here's test key, right? Real tiny. I wish I could zoom in for you guys, but this is test key right here. And you'll notice test key has no values, right? So we can do something here. So if we were to, we set the entry, and then let's say we wanted to set a value within the test key. So we do set value, which is what I did before and then forgot, HKLM. And then this time the path is software and test key. Whoops, test key, right? Because that's the folder, quote, air quote, that we want to make that value in. And it's a key pair value, so we need something to refer to our value as, right? So if we had likes candy is true, like that. So now if we run this, attempted to call set value, which doesn't exist. Did I spell value wrong? Am I having a stroke? No, I'm not having a stroke. It's called set key, not set value. We're setting both, really. This is one of those things that was driving me mad, was I kind of wanted it, I didn't know what to call it, because we're setting a key value pair. I had it for a while, I had it called set key value pair, like that, but that kind of drove me mad, so I just called it key. But I might change it again, because I'm inconsistent. So now if we run it, again, blank window, which is what we were expecting, and it looks blank, but when we refresh it, there's likes candy, which equals true. Ta-da! We've created a registry entry, and now, if we wanted to get that registry entry, we could literally just say get key. Nope, we're getting the value, and we're getting the value of likes candy, which in this case equals true. I just realized because I don't have a console window open, you have no way of seeing that. But I'm just gonna do something really stupid. We'll call this string, and we'll just say string equals this, and then we'll say love.graphics.print, and I hope I can remember this off the top of my head. That, we mean X and a Y, which would be like 100, 100. Do we need a font? I don't know. Maybe that's all we need. Fuck. String expected. Got Boolean. Oh, because get value returns true. Oh. Yeah, that is true. It doesn't return true normally, but in this case, it is returning true, which ironically is not what we want. So we're going to have to turn this back into a string so that we can print it out. I don't know where it got printed. Oh, I just realized that I put that into the update function and not the draw function. So that's why it wasn't showing up. But now, there's our value, true, which you can see right there. And then, if we wanted to, for example, delete that value, we could just do reg delete key, and then just copy some of this shit over. This is the key that we want to delete. Boop, just like that. And then when we run it, I'm assuming. Let's do this real quick. And do that. And do this. Actually, we can leave that blank. When we do it, and then we go back to our registry and we refresh it, now it's gone again. Ta-da! Pretty goddamn impressive. Yo, GeForce Experience, I have to ask, why the fuck have you popped up 3 times in the last 10 seconds? I'm seeing you do it, and I don't know why. But anyways, so yeah, I created a way to access the Windows registry because nobody else has within Lua or LuaJit or anything like that, and the only way that I could find involved either downloading something from Steve Donovan, some dude who makes a whole bunch of Lua libraries from 8 years ago, but the asshole's just like, just build it. Just use my build system. You don't have the build system that I use? That's because I only work on Linux and nothing else. You can build it for Windows, but you have to build it on Linux. And it's like, hey, cool. Wouldn't it be cool if you distributed, I don't know, some binaries, or just distributed the fucking things pre-built? You just throw them in the releases section. GitHub has a fucking releases section. Have you thought about that, maybe? Have you thought about that? No, you haven't, because you're a fucking idiot. You're just a fucking asshole, Steve Donovan. Or I could download an entirely different Lua parsing engine called NLua, which allows me to get access to .NET stuff, which is how I got all the registry shit in the first place. But no, because I'm using LuaJit, so I can't use a pre-compiled version of Lua that's different because I'm using this one. Fucking fuck! Why was it so difficult? Why am I the only person who did this? Why is nobody else? Why does nobody care? Has nobody ever needed this capability until just now? I find that so hard to believe. But anyways, I fucking did it, so now it's done. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy, Mom.